before I get into this video, for real, I just want to say I appreciate everybody for watching. Over 90% of y'all are not subscribed when y'all watch my videos, so go on ahead and subscribe. But I really wanted to make a video about this from a young man's perspective, which is the reason why that's in the title, because I don't want people to click on this video or whatever and just assume that I have my life figured out and this is from a grown-ass man who has experience and everything. No, this is just a guy who is becoming a young man. You understand? So that's the reason I have that in the title. But with that being said, I don't want to make it seem like I have no experience. I have some experience. I've been in a decently long relationship. I've dealt with women after that. I've done some bad things and done some good things. And overall, I've just come to the conclusion that the manosphere, from what I've been seeing, has a serious grifting problem. If you don't know what grift means, essentially it's they're capitalizing on weak-minded men. And the reason why I feel like this is because of the things that they say, a decent amount of them. Now, I've been watching Manosphere content since 2020. Ever since the pandemic, a lot of these avenues and a lot of these podcasts ended up popping up because obviously people couldn't leave the house. So a lot of these guys ended up making podcasts basically about men and women dynamics. The biggest one, until he passed away, rest in peace to him, was Kevin Samuels. Now, I just want to get this out the way right now. I liked Kevin Samuels better than all of them because I think he held men accountable the most. What I mean by that is, before he started and transitioned his content from, chastising men and wanting men to do better to women, there was a period of time for years he was giving men game on what colognes to wear, how to clean themselves, how to do all that type of stuff, how to be a good partner. Now, I'm not saying he was right about everything, because I don't believe he was, but at the end of the day, he was right about a few things, a lot of things actually. And one thing that a lot of these other podcasts and a lot of these other guys that talk about men and women dynamics don't do is they don't do that. They don't go over what colognes men should wear. They don't go over what men should do on the first date. They don't go over these types of things. And for me, it just does men a disservice. A lot of these guys, especially the biggest ones being like Fresh and Fit, they don't go over that type of stuff. They just tell men, hey, this is how you make money and we're gonna teach you how to do so, which is fine. I ain't got no fucking problem with that. Where I have a fucking problem is when they just start ragging on women for this, that, and the third, and don't really get on men at all, other than to get on men to tell them that they're simps and stuff like that. I don't like that part, because I feel like just everything with everything else in life, everything is 50-50. The blame is not specifically on men or women for that matter, as to why they don't get married. Just like it's not the men's fault completely either. But at first, I was watching guys like Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit, mediocre tutorials and reviews, and like I said, it was at first everything was kind of cool, right? At least for me personally, me as a young man watching this shit, I'm thinking, especially Fresh and Fit, I'm watching Fresh and Fit and they kicking women out and they doing all type of shit and they fucking they kicking women out, they cussing at women and shit. And at first I'm thinking, yo, this shit funny as hell. But when you really start to think about it and see it for what it is, it's just two cornballs, or maybe one cornball, getting on women, getting mad at women and all type of shit. And what made me realize that was watching people's reactions to the content. You know what I'm saying? To watching women getting kicked out and things like that. I was watching people's reactions to it and I'm like, yeah, it is pretty corny to see their whole operation. Because imagine you a girl in Miami, right? You going there to have fun and shit. And then my round bald-headed ass walk up to you asking you to be on a fucking podcast where he just starts lambasting you and rating you like a 4 or a 5 and telling you that you're most likely not going to find the man that you want. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with, keeping women kind of realistic in their zone. But at the same time, though, you sitting up here calling a girl a 4 and that they're not going to find the man that they want. For what? I mean, at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. You're going to tell her she's a 4 and that she ain't going to find the man that she want. And then what's gonna happen is she gonna go home and she gonna fucking trick on some stupid guy. That's what the fuck is gonna happen. They're not gonna sit up there and take your advice to heart, because it's corny as shit. Why the fuck would you even want to debate with women who aren't properly educated or have the right stats to counter you at all? Why would you even want to do that? They're just putting the women at a disadvantage. So what made me start leaning into the mindset of them grifting is just the things that they would say about women and the stats that they will pull up and all these other things, basically leading, marriage and the fact that women aren't getting married as women's faults, and really they don't talk about men or like player culture or anything like that. And again, I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm holier than thou. I've been a player. You feel me? I've been doing that type of shit, and it's not. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like it's good, but it all varies on how you treat women. Like, there are a few women that I've heard like genuinely good stories about men from, and I'm talking about these women are just 17, 18, 19. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they've dealt with actually grown men before, but I could easily see how dealing with another guy your age, and he's cheating on you, and he's like, you know, mentally abusing you and all that type of shit, how that could fuck up your mindset for the future. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to blame women for these things, but I don't see how you can just sit up here and look women in their eyes and tell them things like, you know, women not getting married is all of their faults and all this. And it's, to me, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it just goes to show how much they're willing to pander to their male audience and not really give women any type of respect in that regard. And what I've heard from most of these guys, and I'm not saying MTR or Kevin Samuels did this, I honestly don't know how they talked about marriage specifically, but I know for this side of the manosphere, I'm talking Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, Sneeko, people like that. They always say this thing where it's like, oh yeah, I want to have multiple wives, and I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's like, what woman is realistically gonna take that deal? You know what I'm saying? What woman is gonna marry you, have your kids, and stay in the house all day without talking to really anybody else at all? Stay in the house all day, taking care of the kids, while you're out, you know, doing business shit, possibly cheating, and doing all type of shit. Why would a woman want to take that deal? So while you're out having fun, and you're out fucking girls and doing all this other stuff, this woman has to stay home, take care of your kids, keep the house clean, keep herself fit, more importantly, and take care of everything else while you're away. And in Myron's eyes, she can't even have social media. So she can't even be on Instagram looking at funny videos or anything. Because to me, it don't sound like you want a legit woman. To me, it just sounds like you want a fucking slave, an incubation chamber that's going to have your kids shut up and stay out the way. That's fucking ridiculous. And then they blame some of these things on just like, oh, Western culture. So you want to go overseas and find a woman that's in a shitty area, right? Come here and take her to the States, show her a life that she never really asked for, make her have your babies, marry her, and cheat on her and keep doing that shit forever. Why? For what reason? The way they talk about it, like, you would think that they, you know, would love this girl, right? You'd think you would love your wife. You can't love your wife and cheat on your wife at the same time. Those two just don't match. And no matter how many times I've heard dudes online say things like, oh man, you know, sometimes girls just, or women have to take that sacrifice and get cheated on. No, I'm gonna be real. No. If I was a woman, I would not want to deal with a rich guy if that's what's gonna come with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's some women that do want to deal with rich guys, right? But it's like, it's a terrible fucking deal, man. So then I'm looking at the things that they say about Western culture and how degenerate it is, or how it's filled with a lot of degeneracy. But this motherfucker, somebody like Andrew Tate, literally was running probably the most degenerate ring you could possibly run. He literally had women busting their pussy wide open online. And that's not degeneracy at all. Having multiple wives isn't degeneracy at all. Doing the things that you're doing isn't degeneracy at all. When you stop and look back at the things that they say, to me, it's a lot of fucking hypocrisy. Then they claim that men are more feminine when there are clips of basically all of these men, maybe not Kevin Samuels or MTR, but definitely, you know, Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate and Sneeko. There's clips of them yelling online. There's clips of them basically going off on other people, not saying it to their face, not saying it to them on the phone, just going off online at a camera. And people still take these niggas seriously. That's what gets me the most. People still take niggas like this seriously, who's not gonna really do shit in person. Abba and Preach literally said, or more specifically, Preach, he said he wanted to fight Myron, and they just didn't do it. Why? Because Myron didn't want to do it. And you got the goal to come back online and be like, we're alpha males. Come the fuck on, y'all. For me, what really did it for me was when they talked about the situation with Steven Crowder. Now, Steven Crowder had a situation where he essentially basically told his pregnant wife that she couldn't go somewhere and didn't specify why and he just sat there and argued with her. He was basically being a bitch about it. And his wife, I'm not going to show the video or anything, but just know, I've seen the video. His wife literally did nothing wrong. She was just trying to go to the store. And he was like, no. It's not because he had to go somewhere. It's not because he had something to do. He just didn't want his wife leaving. And Fresh and Fit, more specifically Fresh, because Fit, he's just there for, I don't know, comedic purposes, because every time that nigga talk is something funny. But anyway, he literally sat there and looked at the camera and was like, this is female manipulation. Your pregnant wife wanting to go somewhere, and her husband telling her no, and she's trying to convince him that she just wants to go to the store. That's female manipulation in their eyes. So when I'm looking at the shit that they say, because of stuff like this, I can't take it seriously at all, bro. I just can't. How can you look at that video and go, yep, she's trying to manipulate somebody? What sense does that even make? Like, I don't. And then he tried to equate it, because he was like, oh, my mom was pregnant and she didn't do the type of stuff that his wife is doing. Granted, his wife did nothing, by the way. But they want to talk about all these facts, stats, and analytical shit. And he took his one anecdotal experience with his mother and treated it as if all women react the same way when they're pregnant. And they make money from this. There are guys who treat these niggas as gods. Overall, I think what would help the Manosphere, or the content like that in general, is a lot less ragging on women and a lot more keeping shit equal. There needs to be accountability on both sides. We always, or at least they always, talk about accountability for women, because men always are held accountable and things like that, which is cool. I understand that. But all because men are always accountable doesn't mean that the conversation can't be brung up, okay? Let's not sit up here and act like men cheating is not a taboo issue. It's a big issue in our culture. It's a big issue. And I'm not talking about black culture. I'm talking about our culture specifically. It's a real issue. You know, we talk about men abusing women. It is a real issue. I'm not saying all men do it, but I personally know a few women whose sisters, or maybe themselves even, are in abusive relationships. So we need more of holding men accountable. We need more of like people telling men, get online telling men you need to shave, you need to wash your ass, you need to treat your woman like she's worth something, or treat the woman you're dating like she's worth more than just, you know, her coochie. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm asking for. Now, you call me a simp, you call me whatever you want, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. All I'm saying is there needs to be more accountability on both sides, and hopefully this won't happen, but hopefully people will wake up and realize that they don't really give a shit about you. They really don't. They just want to make money from you, and as soon as they make the money that they feel like is adequate to where they don't need to work, they're not going to get on live stream ever again. I'm telling you.